Namaste. We thought of looking tonight at how to connect what we've been discussing with the nature of being, making itself manifest as becoming. And these are the old Platonic and Aristotelian terms that we have yet to think about how that applies to our lives and how it is that we derive an approach to the nature of existence that's meaningful to us and that connects us to the universe in which we dwell. So the aim of life is relevant to us because we are indeed, knowing it or not, seeking a solution to the world's problems of existence. This is the first chapter of the Life Divine, if you recall. And all problems are problems of harmony. So what is it we need to do to bring harmony within our own being, to manifest it, to make it vibrant and felt in the cosmos around us, in society, inside of our own homes? To get to the answers, we have to get to the very core problem, don't we? What is the nature of existence? If a transcendent reality gives birth to the cosmos and to the individual, it's not like a human birth, where a child is born and extruded from the maternal being and exists outside. This kind of birth, the cosmic birth in us within the cosmos, occurs still within the divine source, within the mother being. The great mother may give birth, make the potential that she is manifest in a particular vast form as a cosmos, in uncountable numbers of souls who can and do populate that cosmos. But there's no extrusion outside of being. We're always within being. We always inhere. We're inherently real. The being is essential, and the becoming expresses it. The becoming resides inside the being in a way that the tongue cannot utter, nor the mind conceive. With the limited power of mind, we have constructed the best similitude of the world that we can. We grab aspects which we hope are true. We test them to make sure that they might be truer than the ones that we used previously. But what we cannot do is survey the whole. W-H-O-L-E. So to arrive at a unified vision means uniting all our powers of being and getting to the essence of being and the swell of nature, because it exceeds our grasp. The human is forced to grow. Many have perceived that in wisdom traditions around the world, that all beings except for the human are happy. Only the human is unhappy. The Japanese in the Zen tradition like to see it that all beings, even the squirrels, the chipmunks, etc., they're in a state of satori. They live in reality as it is. They don't seek it, but the human is questing for something, is perplexed by everything. And it's a sign that nature wants us to outgrow our current condition. What we are and what we have attained, we applaud, we're grateful, but it isn't enough. We have to continue to move. So we aim to secure a knowledge based in the spirit, because the material, the vital, the mental forms have not satisfied us. So we have somehow to get back to our originating source. And that's part of the climb that we both encounter and achieve in the process of evolution. So we're hoping to build a knowledge that includes and integrates all the facets and aspects of becoming. Again, integrate, integral knowledge, integration, integer, all from the idea of one. Oneness is real. So a knowledge that is materially based is welcome to our view, but it cannot be exclusive. We've outgrown, at least many have outgrown, the simple equation that matter is reality. And we've outgrown the idea that it's simply our vitality which is real and drives the cosmos. The Bergsonian idea, élan vital. That too disappoints ultimately. And if we follow the ideas available to the mind, we get lost in clouds of ratiocination and we achieve nothing and come back again unsatisfied. So all this brought together forces us to approach an integral knowledge. And what's interesting is that the original ideas behind philosophy, the love of truth, was that through philosophy, through knowing a higher truth, you could unite and amalgamate all branches of knowledge. But that was expecting the philosopher to be wise, to, in a sense, have attained a different vision. But we found that leaning upwards from the material basis has not permitted us in the larger realm of philosophy to attain wisdom, to reach the unification of our being, to find the source of all things. Rather, it's left us with wonderment. It's left us with unanswerable questions. So it isn't philosophy that we really need. As grand as that concept was in ancient Greece, we need wisdom. We need a penetrating vision. We need something that tells us truly and utterly what is. We need powers of intuition. We need something that stretches us into the cosmic. We need something that lifts us into the transcendent. And only then can we have an integral knowledge. So all the branches of knowledge have to come under the sovereign gaze of the wise soul. We must become wise. We must know ourselves. If Socrates was wise in ancient Greece by knowing that he didn't know anything, we have to do a little better than that. We have to take Sri Aurobindo as our exemplar and not Socrates. We must achieve yogically. Our conscious adventure must land on the shores of reality, a larger, more complete reality than we have attained so far. I think we all agree about that. So, philosophy has fallen far. Perhaps the sage lingers in the atmosphere, and it is the empowered sage, the sage whose knowledge is equivalent with power, who has that supramental consciousness. That sage awaits his hour and turn on the stage, and we hope it will be the earthly stage. So, there's a chapter in the Life Divine in the second part called The Integral Knowledge and the Aim of Life, 4 Theories of Existence. And that's what I was teasing you with this invitation, that we would come to this chapter. And you saw probably that there were a host of quotations cited from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, from Atharva Veda, but also one from the Rig Veda that was especially interesting. It's from the 4th mandala, and it was by the great Rishi Vamadeva. And it says very simply in his translation, O Godhead, speaking to Agni, Agni again, those lovers of the Veda among you, O Godhead, guard for us the infinite, Aditi, and lavish the finite, Diti. So this is a unified vision that the sage is in commensurate union with Agni, who can lead us to both, to the rich experience of the manifestation here before us, the earth on which we dwell, the fire that ignites us, and that same fire, seen to be sacred, can carry us upward to that which is not divided, to that which is full, to that which is infinite. Aditi, another figure of the Divine Mother. So it is the quest of the fire, of the aspiration, that Sri Aurobindo cites finally in that whole long list, entering that chapter. So something connecting us back to where we've been in recent months. But in our survey so far of the themes of the Life Divine, we're yet to establish how the involution serves the manifestation by investing itself through a telescoping descent, this series of worlds which intervene between that light above and this darkness here, and what those power possibilities are in a scale, first of interiority, right? All of this is inside the cosmos in the process of involution. All of it's inside, that arrives finally and emerges as we sense to be solid matter. And that is where we begin from. Of course, we have no idea that we have arisen out of a deep inconscience to even arrive at the field of matter, where matter is constructed and organized and can be worked. Because first, there was that inimitable, inexpressible, inconscient darkness, chaos. But with matter, we begin to have a cosmos, an ordered whole, something that can lead to harmony. So the material world is more than valuable. It's indispensable to us. We have to love it. We have to love the earth and everything that dwells upon it. It's part of that material mother. So, we have to talk about involution at some point, and we'll establish after that how evolution carves an upward and forward path that leads to a summit of conscious being, which, when we arrive at it, at least in our inner journey, will feel deeply familiar and comfortable and resonant to us when we get back to that from which we came. That's in our future in terms of the vast spiritual achievement at which we aim. And talking about it is in our future too, with our study of the life divine, as we continue to present its central points. We're not going to cover everything, and we're not doing this from chapter 1 all the way to the end of the book. You've grasped that, yes? We're going to skip around like a bunch of happy children and pick this flower and then that flower and hope that we arrive at a delightful bouquet, which will still be meaningful to you because all the flowers, all the fragrances will be collected from the pages of the Life Divine, and there will be honey. The bees are there. So, what we want to touch upon this time, in the limited minutes that I have left, thank you for your patience, is the starkly differing worldviews possible when engaging with the idea of being and becoming. What's real, what isn't real. And some views strongly suggest to the inquirer an exclusive approach that leaves to the side differing viewpoints. So it's as if we only get to choose one. I'm going to be a materialist and all the rest of you have to go to the devil. Or I'm going to be a spiritualist and who cares what happens down on the earth? I'm free up here in heavenly abodes. What care I for you? But we're going to try to do better than that. It's true that life demands that choices be made, but errors can also be turned around and we can revisit the old perspectives that we had and thank them and subsume them into a larger vision as we grow and sublimate them, carry them above. So, what are our choices according to the wise and discriminating fields of philosophy out there? Choose or affirm all? What do you think? So, the disputing aims of life can be distilled down to a few. And Sri Aurobindo's perspective, why not spoil the party and just say it now, suggests that we can do best through an attainment of an integral knowledge. The world bases, matter, life, mind, a connecting world of supermind, Ananda, Chit, and Sat, going up, compose the 7 worlds through which the ascending spark of delight, the soul, rises and fuses everything together. Our daily experience, currently, for most people, commingles 3, matter, life, and mind, of these 7 worlds. The rest are there, secretly but undiscovered. We haven't evolved into them. And the soul is, most people, distant, somewhere still there, supporting the entity as it grows and evolves and experiences the world, but not really awake and governing yet. But we can, as the Taittiriya Upanishad taught us, tease apart these separate realities and discover that they are all planes of existence, as we like to call them, worlds upon worlds upon worlds. Matter is real. You remember the discovery that the young son made. Yes, Anna, food, matter, is the source of all things. But then life is the source, and then mind is the source of all things. And then there's a vast consciousness beyond that. But even that isn't the final frontier. One can evolve and rise into pure bliss, pure delight, from which all the rest come. The vast consciousness, the mind, the life power, the material formation, all are expressing that. And what's the nature of delight? Oneness. What are we seeking for? The hungry want to eat so they can be full, can be united with the food. Desire wants to be satisfied by capturing the thing that it's looking for. We're looking for completeness of being, and it comes from that. And when we get complete, when we integrate ourselves, we have found delight. We have found the source of our real being, and we're conscious of it. Well, but we also saw in the Taittiriya Upanishad, and this isn't part of Sri Aurobindo's points in this chapter, but we saw with the heroic soul at the end, able to survey the cosmos and range from world to world, free and full of delight, calling out with cries of bliss, able to incarnate, to disincarnate, to live in this world, that world, all worlds at once, undiscovered, undivided, undiminished, happy. If you're looking for happiness, all of these planes can interfuse with each other and stand in a vast harmony. So, most of this, of course, is unperceived to the matter-focused eye, so we have to exceed that. Sri Aurobindo notes that there are 4 perspectives, 4 theories, and we may as well begin with the touchable material world and say the terrestrial theory is the first one that we would meet, evolving out of matter, that the world is real, just like the sun, Taittiriya Upanishad. But then we would discover that there are supraphysical worlds as well, above the material, each distinct from the other. They too are real. And then we would discover at the top that there is a supracosmic truth, something that goes outside the universe, where reality is unchanging, Parmenides again, and self-existence is the only thing. This being is self-possessed and self-generated. And this would be Swayambhu in Vedanta. So those 4 views, the terrestrial, the supraphysical, the supracosmic, and then finally Sri Aurobindo's view, the integral, in which all are true in their own context and are mutually supportive to a sovereign view. It's like you have a material life. You have to get sleep. You have to go through the whole Maslow process, right? You have to read the hierarchy of being. All of that is real as a sort of superficial description of the being. But there's more to it. There's a being inside, and you can't really integrate all the rest of your nature until you found your soul essence. It's that which allows matter and life and mind in you to become a coherent whole. Then you can evolve swiftly. But until you find that source of your truest being here, what person you really are, you can't evolve beyond. So that's the job of establishing an integral knowledge. It has to grow in power and coalesce and form union. So we see typically from the field of metaphysical philosophy that the source is supracosmic, yes, but we have to realize it yogically. The supraphysical worlds between that and the base of matter and the heights of spirit are conditions, conditional being, and you might say reservoirs of potency, of potentiality, which can be drawn out and used. The field in which all of this comes together is the grounded manifestation in matter. And that's where the contextual development and the power of evolution becomes demonstrated, becomes real, and gets a grip on the world. It becomes terrestrial. So the other powers, from the source through the supraphysical, all the way down, enters into matter dynamically as we evolve into it. We can talk about it theoretically, but it has to be made real. It has to be made concrete. Sri Aurobindo was not satisfied with inner realizations that left matter untouched. He meant in his own sadhana, in the mother's sadhana, and in the sadhana of his leading disciples, those who were really doing it, to bring it all back to point in the body. So all these views of what is the aim of life are genuine, but they're all genuine together, not one apart, and not necessarily to be one in phased advance. Typically, our spiritual awakening is the first thing that has to happen in this. But once we get rooted, R-O-U-T-E-D, and why not R-O-O-T-E-D, both ways, and what we're searching for, then the bringing together becomes easier. And what we're all about is the practice of yoga, the actual change of consciousness, the dynamization of earth materials with a greater plane of being and its potencies. We want to make it real here. So, we see all as Brahman, just as we see all life as yoga and is yoga. There is no process that cannot be connected back to our experience of the divine. No process. And we don't have to get scatological here, but yes, no process is alien to this. So, we have to reveal all the oceans of being. While seating ourselves in the transcendent as it continues to stretch beyond. The oceans here, tangible to us, have to be transfused with that transcendent energy, which is always growing. Remember, Brahman is a word that means to grow, to expand. It's not simply a static absolute. It is dynamic. It is instinct with power. We use it as a shorthand in Sanskrit for the divine, but I think Sri Aurobindo's choice of the term divine rather than a he or a she is a moment of genius in him that describes it best. So, Sri Aurobindo aims at an integral knowledge, and an integral knowledge weaves together all the threads. It also unveils the hidden tapestry of the original involution and demonstrates what a vast and wonderful cosmos we have. We need to bring it forward. And that's what we do through our conscious union, our yoga achievement, that is at the same time a synthesis. And a synthesis, going back to the Greek, is a bringing of all things together in an integrated whole. That's what it means. So if things seem to be separate here, the process of yoga brings it all back together. Put your hands together and say namaste. You're looking at the divine. All of it is part of the whole. You and it and everyone. There is only one. So if evolution can achieve this strikingly through the individual, we can't do it all by Tuesday. So long stretches of multi-phase advance are necessary through the course of time, which turns out to be our friend conducting us from one place to another when we don't realize that we're overstaying our welcome in a certain spot. Time helps us through the process of dissolution, what we call death, to move on to the next place where we're invited to be. And so, unwillingly at first and then willingly more later, we continue to progress. So, we are encouraged and permitted to live more than once. Sri Aurobindo's view is that you can leave the universe if you must, but you have to win your exit from it by, guess what? Discovering your source. Always. You don't have the means by which to leave the universe until you've discovered the spiritual essence. You will be part of it. Driven or driving, you will be part of it. So, I'm tempted to turn to Savitri, but maybe a couple of words more. The cosmos cooperates with us. We cooperate with the cosmos. Both cosmos and conscious soul are emissaries of that supreme being. So we're all doing the work together. So if we have to unveil the powers of soul and spirit within us, we're doing it with and for the hidden presence in all the universe. We don't do anything just for ourselves. In fact, a person might often begin the practice of yoga thinking, I'm going to win my own salvation. At some point, that'll fall away. That whatever gets you started is welcome, but it's not just a human affair. And you wind up working for the whole. It's a field of solidarity. The more you're free, the more you're illumined, the more everything else around you is too. In family, in home, in society, at work, leading in politics, serving in politics, sitting in a field of flowers and simply watching the clouds. All of it serves. All of it moves towards a revelation of real being and beauty, moment by moment. So it's not just a human affair. And these powers, as they emerge within us, evoke self-mastery, world concord, and yes, beauty, love, delight, on behalf of all beings, and for the one universe itself. All of this within the single reality, Brahman, the divine. So I think I will, with your permission, read from Savitri. And I don't know if the audio has managed to get to you or not, but hopefully it got to somebody. Otherwise, let us see. I'm trying to open this page. I think we're going back to Book 1, the Book of Beginnings. And we're going to start on page 52 and read at least a few lines. It's Canto 4, The Secret Knowledge. For these she yearns and feels them destined hers. Heaven's privilege she claims as her own right, Just is her claim, the all-witnessing gods approve, clear in a greater light than reason owns. Our intuitions are its title deeds. Our souls accept what our blind thoughts refuse. Earth's winged chimeras are truth's steeds in heaven. The impossible, God's sign of things to be. But few can look beyond the present state, or overleap this matted hedge of sense. All that transpires on earth and all beyond are parts of an illimitable plan the one keeps in his heart and knows alone. Our outward happenings have their seed within. And even this random fate that imitates chance, this mass of unintelligible results, are the dumb graph of truths that work unseen. The laws of the unknown create the known. The events that shape the appearance of our lives are a cipher of subliminal quiverings, which rarely we surprise or vaguely feel, are an outcome of suppressed realities that hardly rise into material day. They are born from the spirit sun of hidden powers, digging a tunnel through emergency. But who shall pierce into the cryptic gulf and learn what deep necessity of the soul determined casual deed and consequence? Absorbed in a routine of daily acts, our eyes are fixed on an external scene. We hear the crash of the wheels of circumstance and wonder at the hidden cause of things. Yet a foreseeing knowledge might be ours, if we could take our spirit's stand within, if we could hear the muffled demon voice. Too seldom is the shadow of what must come cast in an instant on the secret sense, which feels the shock of the invisible, and seldom in the few who answer give, the mighty process of the cosmic will communicates its image to our sight, identifying the world's mind with ours. Our range is fixed within the crowded arc of what we observe and touch and thought can guess, and rarely dawns the light of the unknown, waking in us the prophet and the seer. Well, I like that passage. Maybe we'll read some of that again. Namaste. And thank you for allowing me to be a little playful with you tonight. I hope I haven't injured anyone's feelings. Much love. Stay well. Be really well. Be a well of delight, in fact. And I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Much love. Namaste. Jai Ma.